Saudi Arabia's formal request to acquire F-35 fighter jets from the United States has cleared a key Pentagon policy hurdle. The deal, if approved, would mark the first time an Arab state fields a fifth-generation combat aircraft, significantly enhancing Saudi Arabia's air power and interoperability with US forces. The F-35 is a fifth-generation, multi-role combat aircraft that integrates low observability design, advanced sensor fusion, and secure data links to provide persistent situational awareness, precision strike, and electronic warfare capabilities. Its combination of passive survivability and networked sensors allows operators to detect, identify, and engage threats at extended ranges while remaining difficult to target. The platform's software-centric architecture and open mission systems enable periodic capability growth through software upgrades and integration of new weapons and sensors. Saudi Arabia's current air combat inventory consists primarily of legacy and fourth-generation platforms, multiple variants of the Boeing F-15, including F-15S and older F-15CD models, Eurofighter Typhoon aircraft, and a limited number of Tornado jets. The Royal Saudi Air Force also fields ground-based air defenses, aerial refueling and tanker assets, and ISR platforms, but it lacks an operational fifth-generation fighter. Integrating the F-35 would materially enhance Saudi capabilities in contested airspace by providing improved survivability against modern integrated air defense systems, greater interoperability with US and allied forces, and expanded options for intelligence, surveillance, and strike-led operations. The F-35's ability to act as a sensor node and to share targeting data across platforms would amplify the effectiveness of existing Saudi systems, including long-range strike and air defense architectures. Regionally, the acquisition of F-35s by Saudi Arabia would have multiple layered effects. It would close capability gaps between Riyadh and other regional air forces and could trigger recalibrations by neighboring states. Israel currently operates F-35s, and the United States has traditionally sought to preserve Israel's qualitative military edge in the region. Any sale to Saudi Arabia would therefore be examined closely in Washington and likely accompanied by technical and political measures intended to limit the risk of eroding that edge. The F-35 would not automatically translate into unchecked power projection. Effective use depends on sustainment, training, logistics, and integration into broader command and control. Nevertheless, the platform's stealth and sensor advantages would complicate adversary planning and potentially deter higher-end threats, altering strategic calculations, especially in air-to-air and air-to-ground domains. Standard US export conditions for advanced platforms like the F-35 include stringent end-use monitoring, restrictions on retransfer, controlled technology disclosures, and requirements for interoperability and training provided or supervised by US personnel. Purchases routinely entail long-term sustainment agreements, US oversight of maintenance and software upgrades, and limitations on foreign integration of certain sensitive subsystems. These conditions create dependency on US logistics, software supply chains, and political goodwill, giving Washington leverage over how and when the aircraft are used. They also increase the operational and financial burden on the buyer, which must build the institutional capacity to operate and sustain a fifth-generation fleet. Yet the strategic logic behind Riyadh's request suggests that the move is less about immediate operational necessity and more about optics. Saudi Arabia faces no peer competitor in the air domain that would compel an urgent leap to stealth capability. Its existing mix of F-15s and Typhoons already provides overwhelming superiority against regional rivals such as Iran. By seeking the F-35, Riyadh is instead signaling loyalty to Washington at a time when its foreign policy has become more diversified, with growing ties to China and Russia. The request functions as a high-visibility gesture to reassure the United States of Saudi alignment, while also binding the kingdom more tightly into US defense frameworks that guarantee long-term dependence. This dynamic intersects directly with Israel's interests. Israel remains the only Middle Eastern state operating the F-35, and its qualitative military edge is a cornerstone of US policy. Any Saudi acquisition would therefore be carefully managed, potentially through downgraded configurations, delayed deliveries, or parallel assurances to Tel Aviv. In practice, this makes the Saudi request as much a diplomatic tool as a military one. Riyadh gains political capital in Washington by demonstrating a willingness to buy into America's most advanced systems, while Washington retains leverage by controlling the pace and scope of any transfer. For Saudi Arabia, the F-35 may never be a platform it truly needs to fight wars, but it is a symbol it can use to reinforce its partnership with the United States and to project prestige across the Arab world.